This is CBC Here and Now.
Tonight, in his own words.
The Crown presents a murder-suicide letter in the trial of a man accused of killing his daughter. Good evening and welcome to Here and Now. I'm Anthony Germain.
And I'm Carolyn Stokes. Another emotional and shocking day at the trial of a man accused of killing his 5-year-old daughter.
Trent Butt faces a first-degree murder charge related to the death of Quinn Butt.
Here Now's Mark Quinn has been following the trial and joins us now live from our newsroom. Mark?
That's right, Carolyn. Trent Butt's last letter, titled Final Words, was entered as evidence in court today. In the first line of that first page of that letter, Butt wrote, "I have taken my daughters and my life." Much of the letter is complaints about Quinn's mother, Andrea Goss. Trent Butt wrote, "Quinn is with me now because I could not die knowing she would be left with Andrea." He apologizes to family and friends and ends the 10-page letter with, "I love you, Quinn." The Crown calls this a murder-suicide note. They argue Butt planned a murder-suicide and his only failure was to survive it. The defense says Butt didn't plan to kill Quinn and doesn't remember doing it. Earlier today, forensic pathologist Simon Avis said he could not determine Quinn Butt's exact cause of death, but he could not rule out that she was smothered. Avis did say Quinn clearly died before the fire had started. Now, the trial is planned and is expected to continue tomorrow, and the first witness on the stand will be Trent Butt in his own defense. Anthony, back to you.
It's Mark Quinn live in our newsroom. The lawyers for a young man accused of second-degree murder says he's not criminally responsible. 21-year-old Graham Fitch does not deny killing his mother's partner in Logie Bay 3 years ago. In court today, the Crown described the gruesome death of pharmacist David Collins and Fitch's mental state at the time. Here Now's Bailey White has the details.
Graham Fitch's trial started in an unusual way this morning, not with opening arguments from the defense and the Crown, but instead with an agreed statement of facts. And there were a lot of them. All parties agree that one night in December 2016, just days before his 19th birthday, Graham Fitch sat down to supper with his mother Joan and her partner David Collins. When dinner was done, Graham went upstairs while the couple sat down in the living room. Moments later, Graham came back down. He was wielding a hammer and he smashed Collins over the head again and again. Then Graham left the house. He got into Collins' car and drove off. For hours, he talked to police on a cell phone but refused to turn himself in. Eventually, he returned to the family home on Cadogan's Road, hit a police officer who had his gun drawn, then he smashed into another police vehicle. The statement of facts read out in court today describes Fitch as a depressed, withdrawn person who had never been violent. He told police he felt threatened by 55-year-old Collins and had no choice but to kill him.
All rise.
After Collins' death, Fitch was admitted to the Waterford Hospital. He was exhibiting strange behavior, drinking toilet water, eating paint chips, and hearing voices. That's when Fitch was diagnosed with schizophrenia. His lawyer, Mark Grushi, says evidence presented in the coming days will speak to Fitch's mental health and whether he can be held responsible for the killing.
We're pursuing a Section 16 defense, which is the not criminally responsible by reason of mental disorder defense. That's what Section 16 means. You may have heard that in court this morning. So that's what will unfold as this unfolds.
Fitch was originally charged with first-degree murder, but today a Crown attorney said those agreed facts better supported a case for second-degree murder. He's also charged with assaulting his mother, a police officer, stealing a car, and evading police. The trial continues tomorrow. Bailey White, CBC News, St. John's.
Well, Eastern Health is continuing to see patients with carbon monoxide exposure after a suspected gas leak at a St. John's hockey rink. It happened at the Bussey Arena on Friday. The suspected source of the carbon monoxide was a malfunctioning Zamboni. A hockey tournament was being held at the time, and the children and coaches started complaining about nausea and headaches. Eastern Health says 79 people sought medical treatment. Assistant coach Johnny Fancy says both he and many of the young players were treated for carbon monoxide exposure.
We had about 15 out of 17 kids get tested and go in and give blood work, and from there I think we had we had 10 people, I think 10 of the kids that had to stay and get treated that were over I think 6.8 was the highest that they got tested there, so they had to be treated, stay in the hospital for 3 to 4 hours and just be hooked up to oxygen, which myself the same thing. Mine were low, but I still stayed there for about 2 to 3 hours and got oxygen.
Now, 4 people, 2 adults and 2 teenagers, needed more intense treatment in the hyperbaric chamber at the Health Sciences Centre. When the carbon monoxide was discovered at the arena, a code orange was issued at all hospitals, which alerts staff to prepare for patients after a disaster or other serious incident. Dr. Ken Leday is a hyperbaric specialist, and he helped emergency staff with all the patients.
It was really like a tsunami, a deluge of people coming in quickly. I guess there'd been communication amongst the families, and so a lot of people started arriving very quickly. And so I knew that I had to try and sort out, who were the most severe that I would need to treat in the hyperbaric chamber, who needed oxygen and in the emergency department. So I tried to speak to as many people as possible to try and make that determination.
Well, happy Monday, everyone.
Yeah,
and I feel like with the daylight saving time changing, we've kind of turned the corner, coming out the other end,
We have. We certainly have. It definitely felt like it, too. Sunday was absolutely gorgeous. Temperatures this morning a little chilly, but overall not too bad. If we take a look at those temperatures, generally sitting around the minus single digits for the most part. The coldest was actually in Badger at minus 21 this morning. If we take a look at the highs that we reached, though, this afternoon, these have been changing because we're starting to see warmer air move in. But Corner Brook sitting around 5 degrees on the plus side of the mercury for most of the day today. Otherwise, we're going to start to see these warmer temperatures creep further east as we head through the night tonight. Up through Labrador, a nice day as well, sitting in the minus single digits. And these temperatures are generally going to continue, it looks like, over the next week or so. So here's a look at the satellite radar. We're starting to see that snow push for the Avalon. It's going to quickly change through to some freezing rain and then rain overnight tonight with that push of warm air, and you can see that here. We've got a number of warnings in place as we head through the overnight. That rain will be heavy at times, especially down through Burin Peninsula, Conegra Peninsula, as well as the Avalon. Towards the early morning hours, it clears out. In behind that, we'll see some flurry activity along the west coast. It's going to stay quite chilly up through Labrador, but I will have all your details on your forecast because it looks like spring is around the corner when I come back. Carolyn?
Thanks, Ashley. Well, now to some politics. The PCs have a plan to keep electricity rates reasonable once Muskrat Falls comes online, and it could include taxing Hydro-Quebec. Here Now's Katie Breen is in the newsroom tonight with more. So, Katie, what are the Tories talking about?
Well, this is the plan they put forward today. In it, they talk about how much they think it'll cost to mitigate things and where they plan to find that cash. When Muskrat comes online, Leader Ches Crosby figures the province will need to come up with about $575 million a year to keep power rates from ballooning. By Crosby's estimation, government can find about 40% of that from Nalcor oil revenues. Then there's savings from Holyrood, hydro dividends, export sales, and the restructuring of Nalcor. He figures all that combined should be enough, but Atlantic Accord revenues and potentially taxing Hydro-Quebec could be extra help. Here's how Crosby says that tax could work.
We can put a tax on the export of power from the Upper Churchill with the potential for enormous revenues. Now, it's not my philosophy to immediately go and do that because that will generate litigation. Who needs more of that? But we do need to let Quebec know that we're very aware of that and aware of that opportunity and invite them to come and talk about a whole host of issues.
Now, Crosby believes this option is a sure thing. He says tax exemptions expired in 2016, so we should be able to implement a tax, but it's not really clear if that's the case.
Okay, so why is that? What's government saying about all of this?
Well, they say it's sensitive. Ball says parts of it is before the courts, and he wouldn't say one way or the other today whether or not he thinks a tax is a realistic option.
It's important right now that, when we get legal opinions, that we never want to put ourselves in a situation where, what we say publicly can be used against us at some point in time. Our job is to explore every single revenue opportunity that we have in this province so we can keep electricity rates down.
How exactly are the Liberals planning to do that? Well, they haven't laid out an explicit plan, but they say one's in the works. Live from the newsroom, I'm Katie Breen for Here and Now. Anthony?
Thank you, Katie. A government contract has been yanked from a private ambulance operator in Conception Bay North because too many people are complaining about the service. That revelation comes from Health Minister John Haggie. His department has given Moore's ambulance service 30 days notice that it's losing the contract. After April 6th, the service will be provided by 2 other ambulance operators in the region with no interruption in service. Haggie says Moore's is the only private ambulance operator that hasn't signed on to a province-wide agreement with the government over ambulance services. And he says the company also owes its employees about $150,000 in back wages. And that's money that Haggie says the company has a moral and ethical obligation to pay.
There have been complaints from neighbouring operators that they are having to pick up the slack because of Moore's non-availability. The second thread has really been around a lot of emails and complaints from the paramedics, the employees who work for Moore's. This is not about them in the sense of the quality of service or anything like that. They work very hard. Indeed, the challenge seems to be unsafe and unwise scheduling practices. We've had complaints of people working for 72 hours and then being mandated back to work. And they have not been able to access the retro pay that the other paramedics in the province have.
Now, still with the story, the union that represents the 22 workers argues that the government has a responsibility to pay those back wages. As for Moore's ambulance services, the company says it isn't ready yet to comment on the cancellation of the contract.
Well, a judge told a former RNC officer today that he may not be a violent person, but he's evidently an angry person. Judge Lori Marshall made the comment as she handed Steve Curnew a conditional discharge along with 2 months probation. Curnew was charged with breaching an emergency protection order involving his former wife. During his last court appearance, Curnew launched into a rant about what he called a slander fest by her against him, and that's why the judge said he was angry. Marshall told him he had no remorse and blamed her for his current situation. He was then ordered to attend anger management counseling.
Well, bad news, Brad Gouju. A spectacular double slam ended yesterday's Brier, awarding the coveted curling title to one of Gouju's rivals, Kevin Cooey. The 44-year-old skip from Alberta took home Canada's top curling prize this weekend. Cooey landed an eye-popping last shot. There you see it. Boom, leading his team to a 4-3 win. That foursome was unbeatable, winning every single game that they played. So this puts Cooey into the record books as the 4th skip to win 4 Briers. Cooey's rink moves on to represent Canada at the World Championships later this month. Cooey was born and raised in Yellowknife, which his fans say accounts for his ice-cold calm, as you see there, when it really counts.
For us, this is such a big, big loss.
She told me that she was on her way back from a great March break ski trip with her daughters. She's such an amazing mom.
Identifying the Canadian passengers aboard yesterday's deadly plane crash in Ethiopia. That's coming up.
Weather update is brought to you by 811 Healthline. Medical advice, health information, mental health, and healthy eating. Dial 811. It's free and confidential.
Well, after yesterday and certainly even today, you could feel things getting a little warmer. Maybe warm is relative, but temperatures are higher, right?
Well, it's definitely warmer in the sense that we're seeing longer days, first of all. Second of all, sun angle is getting higher so that we can feel more of the sun.
Good.
And especially yesterday in the sunshine, it felt like anywhere from 3 to 5 degrees warmer than what it actually was. So
good.
Yes, it's getting warmer.
Yay.
But not only that, the temperatures certainly are too. And kind of alluded to that a little bit earlier. If we take a look at the current temperatures right now, you can see it's 5 degrees in Corner Brook, 0 for Gander, -3 in St. John's, and these warmer temperatures are headed towards eastern Newfoundland as we head through the night tonight, and then we're generally going to see temperatures stay pretty similar to what we're seeing right now up through Labrador over the next couple of days. So that's certainly good news there. But taking a look at the satellite and radar, things are starting to taper off a little bit because we're starting to see everything change over to showers. Saw that on the west coast first, and then towards the Avalon and eastern Newfoundland, we're seeing snow move in, and it's quickly changing over to freezing rain and then into rain as we head through the night tonight. The other thing with this system is the winds as well. So earlier today, these were the peak gusts. The Rec House area saw a gust at 135 kilometers per hour. We saw strong winds on the west coast, but these winds have died down, especially for the west coast. But we're seeing that southerly flow, and then it's moving towards eastern Newfoundland and the Avalon as we head through the next couple of hours. So the winds are already starting to pick up. These are wind gusts right now about 70 kilometers per hour for St. John's, and as we head through the night tonight, they're going to strengthen even more. So around 90 to 110 kilometers per hour, especially in those exposed areas, and then along the northeast coast as well. Tomorrow, though, as we head through the day, those winds will ease, so it looks like it will be a nice afternoon. So no surprise that we do have those wind warnings in place. Bonavista, Clarenville, and all of the Avalon still have a winter storm warning for Red Bay to Lanzaclaire. That should end as we head through the next couple of hours as this system continues to track a little bit further east. But as far as rainfall goes, the heaviest rainfall will fall tonight, somewhere between 15 to 25 millimeters for the Canagra Peninsula, Burin Peninsula, and the southern Avalon. And if we take a look at the future tracker, you can see why those rainfall warnings are in place. The heaviest rain, as I mentioned, will go move through the overnight. And behind that, we get into some cooler air, and then we're looking at the potential for some flurry activity towards the early morning hours. So when we're seeing that rain, it's actually going to, these temperatures are actually going to drop down to about -3 along the west coast tonight. And then there's that warm, mild air, as I mentioned, heading toward eastern Newfoundland. So we're looking at those warmer temperatures. Otherwise, we're looking at snow for the majority of the Labrador. So into tomorrow afternoon, generally a beautiful day. We're going to hang on to these milder temperatures. Slight chance we could see some afternoon flurry activity towards central Newfoundland. Otherwise, along the coast, we'll see another round of snow move through for Labrador. But here's your temperatures: 4 degrees. It looks like it should be your afternoon high in St. John's. Marystown, 2 degrees. Plenty of sunshine. I have sunshine in the forecast from Grand Falls, Windsor through to Terra Nova. But again, we could see that potential for a few flurries. Best chance will be along the west coast, though, and then up through St. Anthony. -2 tomorrow. Those northwest winds near about 30 to 50 kilometers per hour, but overall not too bad, with snow and blowing snow along the coast. And that's because we're still going to see these strong winds and then that next round of snow moving through. So that's a look at the forecast. Looking ahead, it looks very spring-like, but I'll have all those details coming up. Carolyn?
Thanks, Ashley. Well, turning now to national news, we're learning more about the 18 Canadians who died in yesterday's devastating plane crash in Ethiopia. This afternoon, a school board in Brampton, Ontario said the victims include a family of 6, 2 students, sisters, as well as their parents and grandparents. The CBC's Cass Rusi has more on the victims, the investigation, and Canada's response.
I now invite all representatives to stand and observe a minute of silence in honour of the victims.
At UN headquarters in New York today, a moment of silence for the 157 people killed in the Ethiopian Airlines crash. 21 of the victims were members of the United Nations.
Our colleagues were women and men, junior professionals and seasoned officials, hailing from all corners of the globe.
18 Canadians were killed when the plane crashed just 6 minutes after takeoff. Among them, Ottawa native Jessica Haiba, who worked for the UN and recently was reassigned to Somalia's capital. Today, one of her closest friends says Haiba was excited to get back to work.
Jessie is a brave, brave person. She's a superhero in herself. She's an incredible mother. She loved very deeply. She loved her family. She loved her friends. She is a humanitarian at heart, and both the United Nations and Canada have lost one of their best humanitarians.
At the crash site, heavy machinery was brought in to dig out pieces of the wreckage, while searchers continue to recover bodies. It's still not known what caused the plane to go down in clear weather, but with the recovery of 2 black boxes, officials hope to get some clues.
The flight data recorder is going to show us the flight path, the way that the pilots were manually controlling the aircraft with as far as the flight controls and how they were trying to, I'm sure, prevent this from happening once it became evident the aircraft was descending rapidly.
Both Air Canada and WestJet say they remain confident in the Boeing plane. Still, the Air Canada Pilots Association is calling on Ottawa to take proactive action to ensure the safety of Canadians. But late this afternoon, Transport Minister Mark Garneau says, until investigators determine the cause of the crash, the Canadian fleet of Boeing planes won't be grounded. Cass Rusi, CBC News, Toronto.
This province has tremendous opportunities for growth in offshore oil and gas industry.
The provincial government charges ahead with plans to create a standalone oil and gas corporation. What that means for all of us, that's up next. Welcome back to Here and Now. It accounts for about a quarter of our economy, and now the government is about to elevate its focus on the oil and gas industry even more. A new Crown corporation will soon take charge of a plan to grow the sector in a big way over the next decade or so. Here Now's Terry Roberts reports.
Some key players in the oil industry gathered in St. John's today, hearing details about government's plan to shine a brighter spotlight on an industry that is the backbone of the province's economy.
Having such a significant contributor to the Newfoundland economy, it only makes sense to have a corporation solely focused on oil and gas.
Government is no longer satisfied to have its oil and gas eggs placed in the Nalcor basket.
Nalcor Energy today is very focused on finishing a very important project. They're very focused on utilities. They're very focused on rate management.
So Nalcor will now focus on power generation and transmission, completing Muskrat Falls. Management of the growing oil and gas industry will be carved off into its own corporation, charged with driving more exploration, growing the job-heavy supply and service sector.
We don't see it as changing the window dressing. We see it as increased focus on developing the oil and gas industry in the province.
The new corporation will report directly to Cody's department, given the task of making this province a preferred location for oil and gas development. A name for the corporation, a CEO, and a board of directors will be announced soon. But this man, Jim Keating, the man currently in charge of Nalcor Oil and Gas, will likely lead the way.
We're not anticipating much change within the existing team that we have.
Interest in the offshore has never been greater. New companies lining up for a piece of the action. $4 billion in exploration commitments. Government is not taking any chances. It's going all in on oil. Terry Roberts, CBC News, St. John's.
Well, to the West Coast now, where the provincial government launched a new pilot program today to see if it can cut down on the wait times in the courtroom. The adult diversion program will be tested in Corner Brook and Stephenville during the next year. It allows people accused of non-violent crimes to access alternative programs instead of the traditional courtroom process. They can receive counseling or get involved in community service. If the accused follows orders and checks in with a court-appointed supervisor, then the charges could be dropped.
All we're doing is, rather than them going through court and then ending up with probation months down the road, they would be going to them up front. So I don't think that this is going to put more files in the system, but what it should do is basically they'll take a different track through the system.
For me, when I said no, like I called a stick in the mud that I don't do it, or they're saying that, oh, you're so uptight.
Kids News gets candid.
Today's tough topic, the peer pressure that surrounds nude selfies.
Meet Caleb.
I blame the doctors for it. I blame God. I was mad about the things that I didn't say and what, things I could go back and change, the memories that we never got to make.
Listen up. Thursdays on your local CBC morning show.
Welcome back to Here and Now. Well, Newfoundland and Labrador's once red-hot economy saw a surge in the number of new homes being built.
It seems now, though, more people are interested in fixing up what they already own. Home renos are a billion-dollar industry in this province.
Well, this weekend, the 36th annual Canadian Home Builders Association rolled into town. Our Jeremy Eaton dropped by to learn more.
To the home show today at the Glacier.
This is the 36th year for this home show. It is a true tradition for Newfoundland and Labrador. It's our largest residential trade show for the province. Top of mind for everybody right now is energy efficiency. So our theme is energy efficiency, healthy living, and working with professional product providers and service providers.
Well, we're a new member this year, and as a representative of Sexton Lumber, we're promoting the finger joint product. It's been around, but we're really coming hard into the market for its stability, its strength, its less resistance to cupping and twisting. And it's great for the environment as we're taking shorter pieces of lumber, making longer pieces, straighter, and in that case there's less cutting of trees, so it's better for the environment. Well, a lot of the contractors are liking the fact that it's stronger. The home builders they want something that's not going to twist and cup. That's big for them because they offer the home warranties. And even the end users, the homeowners themselves, they like the fact that you're cutting less trees, it's eco-friendly, it's green, so it's a benefit to everybody.
Yes, there has totally been a transition in new home construction and renovation over the last couple of years. New home starts are down, but the renovation and repair sector is thriving. It's still a billion-dollar industry.
In Newfoundland and Labrador?
Absolutely. So bathrooms and kitchens and exterior and windows and insulation, people are actually still making investment in their existing house. We call it the HGTV effect, absolutely. Their expectations are very high for renovations, and our members really try to mitigate and try to work with the consumer because their expectations today are different from what they were before the HGT effect. We have renovator members, and these are the Renomark renovators. And we have pamphlets that we're showcasing, and we're educating the consumer how to do it right, how to plan the renovation, how to work with a professional, how to get it in writing, and how to communicate with the renovator. Also, just make sure that you're hiring a credible contractor. That's the most important thing.
Well, it might be called kids' news, but a young local reporter is tackling a mature topic. Two teens from St. John's are opening up about the pressure to share nude selfies and the flack they get from their peers when they say no. Claire Donnan has this CBC Kids News report.
Have you ever been asked for nudes?
Yes, I have been asked for nudes.
What grade were you in when people started asking you for nudes?
Grade 7. I was in grade 8 when I was first asked for nudes.
Hi, I'm Claire Donnan in St. John's, Newfoundland. Today, we're going to be talking about nude selfies.
They don't even care about your personality. It's just...
No, it's just like, oh, you got nice stuff. And
because it's kind of like a trophy.
Maybe it's better if you comply with them so they can leave you alone after that. But then instead, they keep coming for more and more. That's how a lot of girls end up getting trapped in that loop. And then that's all they feel. Like, they feel good at the time, then right after they feel ashamed for doing it.
They're not gonna grow up trusting men. And I guess that's what the Me Too movement's all about.
I understand that you both have little sisters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. How would you feel if somebody asked one of them to send nudes? Dr. Faye Mishna is the Dean of Social Work at U of T, and this is one of her specialties.
I'm a professor, I'm Dean, and I'm a professor at the Hermitage Faculty of Social Work at the University of Toronto. But also, I do research. My program of research includes bullying and cyberbullying.
How does it make you feel when people ask you?
Violated, and it's honestly unacceptable. I feel ashamed and bothered by it.
I say absolutely not. If that's all you want in girls, that's sad. And block them.
Do you think this is happening more often?
It's not uncommon now, right? Typically, it seems that adults hear about it when there's a crisis or an emergency, and then everybody blows up and gets upset, and then it goes underground.
Unfortunately, like the norm of our generation, that some guys think that it's okay to just ask all the girls they want and think that they're shallow enough to do it or they would like comply. And if you are someone who has low self-esteem, you may think that, oh, it's okay, like they'll like you or something. In reality, it just adds a bigger weight to your life. For me, when I said no, like I called a stick in the mud that I don't do it, or they're saying that, oh, you're so uptight.
Do you think it's more of a power play? Is it about people feeling entitled, that kind of thing?
What's very interesting is boys and girls still blame the girls. We need to change our understanding because that's based on the expectation of how girls are supposed to act and how boys can act. What we found in our study that was really concerning is that everybody, not only did they blame the girl, they didn't even talk about a boy.
Yeah, they're called like, you know, sluts, and I hate to say it, but
if you're a girl who hasn't been, like, hasn't fortunately been in that situation, you would probably think very low of that particular girl. Yes, they were given a choice, but they were not really much of a choice.
If all we do is say don't do it and then close our eyes, they're doing it anyways. And the challenge is how do we bring that in education in a way that doesn't sound preachy?
Do you feel like you can talk to your teachers or your school about it?
Nope.
A lot of girls who have done it, they get a lot of backlash from other people, not even only guys, but everybody else.
Does it interfere with your studies or your mindset at school?
Yeah, you kind of feel like, I don't really want to go to school today because
they're going to be there.
They're going to be there, and then what will they do next? It's not like you can be like, oh, you're there, delete.
What advice would you give to kids who find themselves in this situation?
It'd be great for them to go to an adult who they can trust, who's not going to be judged, but who will help them, give them permission not to. There's also Kids Help Phone, if they can always phone up or email us. So I would say to the school board, get some champion in the school board, because whether they recognize it or not, kids are doing this, and if they can't go for help, what worries me is that means they don't go for help until it's very late, and in some cases too late.
Thank you so much for talking to me about this. It's great to have this conversation. For CBC Kids News in St. John's, Newfoundland, I'm Claire Donnan.
Yeah, she did a great job.
Yeah, it is good to have that conversation.
Yeah, and a lot of candor there as well, so stay tuned. We'll have more of those in the future.
It's a really important thing that we provide to the community to be able to have a safe place to dispose of their medications.
Some university students spent their weekend collecting unused prescription pills.
We'll explain why that's a good thing in a few minutes.
Hey, Chrissy. Hey, you ready to go for our big night out? What's going on? I thought we were going out.
It's freezing out.
It's winter. Come on, aren't you ready? We talked about this. I've got dinner reservations, tickets to the show. It's time to go. Come on, let's get the stink of house off you.
All right, bye.
Tune in to the St. John's Morning Show to win restaurant vouchers, tickets, and other things that'll force you to leave the house.
Come on, we're going to be late, Chrissy.
Nice out.
Yes, come on, I got to get the stink of house off you.
This weather update is brought to you by Beltone, helping the world hear better.
Get the stink of house off.
I know,
Yeah.
it was so
Be a good day for that today, actually, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yes, it certainly was. Yeah. Earlier, or I guess yesterday, this picture was taken. Take a look at this one. It says 13 days till spring. Okay, our spring.
Yeah, there you go.
And I keep getting told about that, which is hilarious because everybody's telling me, well, you know, we're actually 9 days away, so this was taken a couple of days ago. But everybody keeps saying, well, you haven't experienced a spring yet, so you don't know what our spring is. But I'm going to say over the next couple of days, it's certainly going to feel like spring. These temperatures are going to get much warmer, which is nice. And then tomorrow is going to start to feel like that. And that's because we're going to hang on to these warmer temperatures tomorrow. A slight chance of a few flurries, but then as we head into Wednesday, we're going to hang on to these warmer temperatures. Take a look at this forecast. Not a whole lot happening as far as the future tracker goes, but here's your temperature. So sitting between 0 and 1 degree. These temperatures could actually climb even a degree or two more, but it's going to be plenty of sunshine through the afternoon. Happy Valley Goose Bay sitting around -5. Nain a little cooler at -11. And then the chance of a few flurries, it looks like, for Lab City. But that'll move in late day. They're going to sit around -7 as your afternoon high. Now, the reason for and why I say it's feeling very spring-like over the next little bit is because we're going to start to see this push of warm air move in. And this is into Saturday. It's going to stick around for a while before into the next week we'll start to get into some cooler air. Those temperatures are going to drop like a rock. But for now, we're looking at some nice weather. So here's a look at the future tracker and what we're going to be looking ahead over the next couple of days. So into Thursday, again, not a whole lot happening. A slight chance of some onshore flurries along the west coast. Otherwise, just a mix of sun and cloud. And into Friday as well. That's when that next system will move in, and we're going to see that snow push in for Labrador. But with that warmer air, we're starting to see some pinks in the forecast as well, or at least on the map, which is a mixing. And because those temperatures are going to be much warmer, and that big push of warm air moves, we get into that southerly flow, and most of the island will see rain by the time Sunday morning rolls around and into the day, or through the day rather, on Saturday morning. And then continue into the evening hours with quite a bit of rain, it looks like, in the forecast. But take a look at these temperatures. So here's a look at your 5-day outlook for St. John's and eastern Newfoundland. We're looking at clearing skies tomorrow. 4 degrees should be the afternoon, and then temperatures stay above 0 right through Friday. Again, these temperatures, like on Wednesday and Thursday, could be a little bit warmer. But by Saturday, we could reach the 8-degree mark with that rain moving in. And then we will see a cool down into next week. But certainly, let's take advantage of this while we can. Central Newfoundland, very similar forecast right through Friday with plenty of sunshine. Again, could see the slight chance of a few flurries tomorrow afternoon. That temperature should hover around 3 degrees. And then into Saturday, 8, and rain in the evening. Same for western Newfoundland. Likely going to see that rain a little bit earlier on Friday, but those temperatures are still going to be lovely. And then up through eastern Labrador, same things, about 1 degree by the time Friday rolls around. So we're looking at either rain or snow. And then some sunshine, it looks like, on Saturday as well, with that temperature up above 0 at 3 degrees. And then for western Labrador, same thing. -9 tomorrow, plenty of sunshine. Wednesday, we start to get into that potential for flurries, and I'll stick around Thursday. And then Friday, look at this, 1 degree Thursday and Friday. So we're definitely nearing spring, which is certainly good news. So when I come back, I'll have a look at your weather photo.
Well, a number of pharmacy students from Memorial University spent their weekend with the RNC.
As part of Pharmacist Awareness Month, the budding professionals volunteered their time collecting old prescription medications.
Here now's Jeremy Eaton dropped by to learn more.
Today we're accepting old medications from people in the public to come and drop them off so we can dispose of them safely. So that's just a part of Pharmacist Awareness Month, which is going on throughout the entirety of March.
Well, you never know who's going to go in your garbage, for one, and two, some medications are biologically active, so there are environmental issues with just throwing them in the garbage. So we take them here, bundle them up, and then incinerate them properly so that they're not an environmental problem.
It could be unsafe if someone were to get a hold of it who wasn't supposed to have it. And not to mention, just at the end of the day, medications do expire. So it's not really a good idea to hoard medications too long if they're not using them for the reason why your doctor wanted you to have them in the first place after the fact. I think it's important because it's a really important thing that we provide to the community to be able to have a safe place to dispose of the medications. And it's also just coming out on a Sunday to volunteers, getting used to advocating for pharmacy. And if we don't get used to it now, we're not going to know how to do it when we're pharmacists. And that's the main thing that's been driving our profession forward. So we really need to learn that now.
But it's part of a broad role of pharmacists who, are involved in anything from proper use of medications at the front end, so we don't have to dispose of them at the back end. And then the other issue is just getting our pharmacy students out, facing the public, and working on an important issue like proper disposal of medications. In addition to the environmental issue, there are issues around proper disposal, particularly for things that could be harmful, opioids, and making sure that those are out of medicine cabinets so children can't get a hold of them.
Well, today Britain celebrates 70 years of the Commonwealth. Canada is one of the original members, and Prince Harry and Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex, visited Canada House in London to mark the day. CBC's Kayla Hounsell has more.
The annual Commonwealth Day service takes place each year here at Westminster Abbey. It is a day set aside for celebrating the shared values of the Commonwealth: peace, equality, and diversity. All of the main members of the royal family are here: the Queen, Prince Charles and Camilla, Prince William and Kate, and Prince Harry and Meghan. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex paid a visit to Canada House earlier today, where they spent some time chatting with young Canadians who are living here in London and throughout the United Kingdom, and working in a variety of sectors from fashion and the arts to business and academia. They were also treated to a performance by some Canadian throat singers, and of course the youngest Canadians stole the show, some Canadian children teaching Harry and Meghan how to make maple taffy on snow. The royals were also given some gifts for their own child. They're expecting a baby this spring, and they were given some mittens and a hat from the Hudson's Bay Company, as well as a onesie with a maple leaf on the front and some Manitoba mucklucks. Now, some people think Harry and Meghan's visit to Canada House on Commonwealth Day today is a sign of things to come.
The fact that Harry and Meghan are coming here, I think, would indicate that at some point in the future they're certainly thinking about coming to Canada. I mean, not least because, of course, the Duchess lived in Toronto, and the link between Canada and the royal family is incredibly strong. In fact, the Queen has not been to as many countries outside Britain as Canada.
And there are now 53 member countries in the Commonwealth. They have a combined population of 2.4 billion people, and more than 60% of them are under the age of 30, which is perhaps part of the reason we see the royal family placing so much emphasis on engagement with youth. Kayla Hounsell, CBC News, London.
And there are just 18 days left until Britain is set to leave the European Union. And the prospect of pulling out with no agreement has many British industries wrestling with uncertainty. The situation is especially dire for lamb producers, who may have to slaughter millions of animals that no one wants. The CBC's Thomas Degla explains.
Welcome to North Stoke, England. Population 72 humans and several hundred sheep. There are about to be many, many more just at this farm, an extra 1,500 or more, because it is lambing season, as it is every year right around this time here in Britain. These ewes, female sheep, are about to give birth to their little baby lambs. Those lambs are normally farmed for their meat, much of which is exported to the European mainland, except this year there is a big question mark over the entire British lamb industry, and that is because of Brexit. Britain is set to leave the European Union at the end of the month, but there's still no divorce deal ratified, meaning British lamb farmers are worried about deep tariffs being imposed at the end of the month, perhaps even additional sanitary checks imposed, which could cause chaos in the industry.
These lambs that are coming out that we're producing now, we still don't know what the market for them is. We don't know if anyone's going to want them. We've already spent the money getting them this far. Farmers might have to try and sell them or slaughter them. You know, that would be the worst case scenario.
This little lamb was born premature about a week ago. Normally it could be processed for its meat, and that could be exported to the European mainland within 6 months' time. But this year, because of Brexit, there's a big question mark over that meat, over the whole industry. That's unless Britain and the EU can agree to the terms of a deal before the end of the month. Thomas Dagg, CBC News, North Stoke, England.
One of the 2 women accused in the killing of the North Korean leader's half-brother has been freed today. It's after prosecutors in Malaysia unexpectedly dropped the murder charge against her. The Indonesian woman has returned to her home country, but her Vietnamese co-accused remains in custody in Malaysia. Kim Jong-un's estranged half-brother died after being smeared by a nerve agent in the Kuala Lumpur airport 2 years ago. No reason was given why the charge was dropped for one of the only people arrested after the incident. The other suspect's lawyers have also requested for charges against her to be dropped.
In other international news, there's even more anger brewing in Venezuela, where the political temperature is already at or perhaps even past the boiling point. This is day 5 of a major blackout that's affecting most of that country. Schools and businesses have shut down, and lineups at gas stations and grocery stores stretch for blocks. The Venezuelan opposition blames the power outage on government incompetence and corruption. President Nicolas Maduro accuses the U.S. of causing the country's longest blackout ever.
Oh, a little bit of a different kind of weather photo.
Yeah.
To me, it looks like little marshmallows.
It does.
It's Monday. I'm thinking giant aspirins myself after that time clock change. What time is it anyway?
I don't even know.
Yeah.
Well, those
pretty
are
shot,
actually,
though.
Yeah, it's pretty. They're hay bales, so that's a great shot there. That might give you a little bit of clue, maybe not. But take a guess, figure out where that's from, and then I'll tell you where it was taken when we come back.
Welcome back to Here and Now. Well, you've heard of someone getting cold feet on their wedding day.
Well, this bride had an excellent reason for those cold feet. When the diamond comes inside, or tied rather, to a hiking boot, you know you're in for something kind of special. This Alberta couple held their dream wedding this weekend in Jasper.
And they knew it would be cold, but not an Arctic freeze cold. It was -30. The bride wore boots and the groom long johns.
And unfortunately, they had to cut the ceremony down to 15 minutes and they canceled a planned hockey game, but the couple says it was a perfect day.
Yeah, just makes it more memorable.
Yeah, it looks pretty memorable. Was that the maid of honor I saw with bare shoulders next to the bride in one of those shots there?
Yeah, I missed it too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, here's another photo. Probably not as cold as, or wasn't as cold certainly, as what we just saw there. But the photo was taken on the
West
Port
Coast.
Peninsula. Yeah.
Yep.
In Campbell's Creek.
Ah, nice spot.
Yeah, beautiful shot there. I really enjoyed this photo. Thank you, Teresa, for sending that photo in. If you have any weather photos you'd like to share with us, send them to nlphotos@cbc.ca and we'll try and get them on the show.
Excellent.
Yeah, pretty much does it for Monday already.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Start to the week.
See you tomorrow.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.